Thank you for having me this evening. Hopefully it won't rain on us, that's for sure. I really appreciate the social distancing and the efforts made for that this evening. I think it's really important during our pandemic that we think of others and others' health and safety. So thank you very much for doing that. I don't know who exactly to thank besides the chamber, so thank you. My name is Kimberly Bizon. I'm running for Michigan's 10th Congressional District, and I'm really glad to be here. And I'll just give you a little information about myself. I was raised on a farm in Yale, Michigan. I graduated from Utica High School. I earned my degree at Michigan State University. And my career is in marketing and advertising. However, I believe in community leadership. I currently live in Lexington, Michigan. If anybody doesn't know where that's at, it's a little place above Port Huron, nestled up right against Lake Huron. I've lived there for 15 years to be closer to my mother. It's a beautiful place. She taught me at a young age to go ahead and, if you don't see something that you like in your community, to be the change that you seek. So I've been a community leader in that area for over 15 years. I'm the president of Huronia Heights Association and the chairwoman of 4 subdivisions that encompass 3 miles south of Lexington. We actually talk about common issues, whether that would be, we initiated a recycling center in Worth Township, which brings revenue to our county, which was one of those things that we felt were missing. We also put together MDOT surveys in order to lower our speed limits. And so we work on a lot of projects that the residents are concerned about, but we always focus on health and safety first. So I'm really proud of some of the work that we've been doing. Currently, for those that live by the water, we have high lake levels and erosion. So we're currently working on shoreline erosion projects and trying to find those contractors and those coastal engineers to give us some sort of insight as to how we can go ahead and protect our shorelines. So I'm very, very involved with my community, and it's been very rewarding to work with all the residents. In 2014, I became a climate reality leader. It's an international organization that focuses on solutions for climate change. So I've been a leader and a mentor since 2014. That same year, I became a volunteer lobbyist for the Citizens Climate Lobby. That brought me my journey down to, or up over to DC area, where I was trying to work with politicians in order to bring political will to move the carbon fee and dividend proposed legislation. It quickly came to me that our current politicians and representatives do not listen to residents, and they also like to just fall between the party lines. And I believe as a representative that you have to eliminate party lines and just get to working with people, thinking about people and the communities. So I'm really proud of that work that I do for climate change and to move that needle forward. I was on the ballot in 2018, and I ran on the Democratic ticket. I am running again in 2020 because you don't quit on things that matter. You don't quit on health care and those people with pre-existing conditions. We need to protect them and our seniors. You don't quit on public education. You don't quit on our unions, our veterans, and those people that are less fortunate in our area. We fight against social injustice, and those are some of the things that I stand for. But if you'd like more information, I have brochures, and you can find me at KimberlyBizonForCongress.com. Thank you.
My name is Kelly Noland. I'm also on the Democratic ballot to run in District 10. I am a district native. I graduated from Imlay City High School. My parents have very deep roots here in the area. I'm also a nurse, and I'm an Army veteran. The reason why I decided to run is because I am tired of not being heard. It seems like our voices are being disregarded in Congress. And I am somebody that will go there and fight to have our voices heard and to truly represent our district, which I feel has been underrepresented for the last few years. We need to engage in our communities in order to make a difference, and that means town halls, coming to places like this, speaking to your constituents, interacting with the community to really know what your needs and your wants are. I was also able to volunteer during the COVID crisis at a local area hospital, and I saw many things that disturbed me. And I appreciate seeing the social distancing today. Please keep it up. Please wear masks, okay? Very important. Rural communities have always been kind of overlooked. Our internet and cellular service, not great. I remember graduating in 1986, and he said, Comcast cable is coming. Well, 34 years later, it's not here. Where are you, Comcast? That's just one of the things, because that holds back education and so many other aspects of our life here in our district. Things that people take for granted down in the city. I live in Chesterfield. My cellular service is great. As soon as I pass 23 mile, 24 mile, it starts getting spotty. Come up here even farther, and it's Canadian service. That's ridiculous. We should have our own infrastructure in place. And also post-COVID, the focus in Congress for the next decade, I foresee, is going to be repairing our American economy, our local communities, and our healthcare system. I firmly believe that healthcare is a basic human right. Everyone is entitled to it, no matter what. I have seen, as a nurse, 33 years, what can happen when people do not have healthcare, what they suffer from. They die quicker. They're sicker more often. That costs us money in the economy in the long run, jobs lost, time lost from work, etc. It's a trickle-down effect. These things all need to be addressed in Congress upcoming, post-COVID. And also we need to encourage our local businesses to be revitalized. We need federal funding to do that. In order for us to flourish again, we also have to come together as a community. We're in this together, folks, okay? And I am here to represent you the way you deserve to be represented in Congress. And my experience as a nurse and a veteran gives me the skills to work interpersonally with people, no matter what kind of mood they're in, regardless. I can do it. I can work across the aisle. I can represent us properly. Thank you for your time, and stay safe.
Very good. My name is Jabari, and I'm running for the state representative in the 33rd District. And real quick, our campaign is based on a simple platform. I said simple, but we defined it as being a sample. First of all, one of the things we want to focus on is seniors. We want to get seniors re-involved in the process of how we do business. Something that's been taken out of context and out of character is removing our seniors from the process. I want to make sure that they're involved. The wisdom lies with our seniors. Second, the A in sample. The A is for advocacy for you. Someone said that youth should be heard, and basically that, for the most part, not seen. My thing is we need to hear them a little bit more. Lately, if you've been paying attention, the youth have been the movement around the world. So our thing is to advocate for you, give them an opportunity, let them sit at the table. Finally, the M. The M is for mental. I believe we need to do more with mental health. We need to work on not only replacing facilities, but closing those facilities that are any good, rebuilding those and providing mental health, not only institution, but consultations, bringing the community back into mental health. A lot of people who are walking around, a lot of them don't have issues, they just need some place to be and somebody to talk to. Our campaign is going to push mental health and put those dollars back where they belong. And then the P is police and community. We want to bring back the community policing. When I was in Detroit, Michigan, I had a chance to be an executive director of an organization where we had 15,000 police officers right in the community. You knew who your officer was. So when a call came through, you knew exactly what officer was coming. You didn't have to worry about being afraid, and they dealt with you the way they were because they knew you. And that's what we want to bring back. And of course, we're going to talk about the L, leadership. I believe that when we work hard, we have to build leaders. One thing we have not done enough of is building leaders to take our place, to carry our agenda. Our campaign and our format is going to continue to build leaders to move our process forward. Lastly, education. I believe education is the key to economic society. Education is the key to making things better. I don't care where you live, where you come from. Everyone should have an equitable care and an equitable opportunity to provide education for everyone. Remember, my name is Jabari. Who knew Olu? Yes, the initials are OJ, but not that OJ. Thank you.
So I'm Jeff Yaroch. I am the state representative for the 33rd House District. I've been very proud to serve you for the last 3.5 years. It's really tough to fit it into 5 minutes because I have been busy. I will tell you that I want to thank the Armada Chamber for hosting this. And I want to acknowledge my wife, Sara, has been very supportive. And Reagan and Madison, who are hopefully in bed right now, my daughters. Yes, they are named after presidents. We're kind of government geeks. I will tell you how I ended up in Lansing. It wasn't because I'm a career politician. I actually ran for city council because people said, you know, you're a reasonable guy, you like to work on issues, willing to talk to people. You know, so you should run for city council. When I was on city council, people said, what are you going to run for next? I said, I'm not running for anything next. I'm here to serve Richmond. It's my community service. And what I found more and more, I became frustrated that the state government had a paternal relationship with local government. They were kind of like the parent, and local government was the child. And it became very frustrating for me to try to serve my residents, having to fight through regulations that came from the state. And so when I ended up, people started saying, you know, you're a reasonable guy, you understand roads and water and sewer and all those things, you should go to Lansing. Stop driving to Lansing like I was and advocating and get a desk and actually vote on issues. So one of the things I pushed, we have a lot of local officials here, I've always been trying to be a good partner to local elected officials, be it providing they have questions, issues, you know, answers. I have 17 years on the city council. I was a firefighter before I went to Lansing, so I have public service experience firsthand. I'm still a paramedic. I'm a licensed paramedic. In fact, I signed up to volunteer at the TCF Center and get back in there and do patient care, but actually we ended up shutting down the TCF Center and, with very few patients in there, but I was ready to go back in there, be a paramedic again, and serve our people. I will tell you that what I've been really key on is leading by example. I want to be the example of what an elected official should be. When I look at representatives, I want to be the representative that I would want representing me. And that's being accessible, listening, being available, and helping to solve issues. So many elected officials don't understand government, and they often talk about government in a way that they don't understand the Constitution. You have to understand your role if you're going to help people through the process. And so I'm very committed to serving and following the Constitution. Very often our constituents call my office, and sometimes it's not an issue that we can help with. It's a federal issue. They have an issue with the VA, but we help them on that path. It might be a local issue. We connect local government officials with residents and try to resolve issues. You know, sometimes it's something simple. That we worked with the Freewalds to get a highway naming for a son of Armada, Jason Freewald, to get it, because that was something that the community wanted to embrace. And it was something that would seem very simple to do and to respect our veterans. No fault, overwhelmingly, people said fix no fault. It had gone on for a decade, it was broken. We reformed no fault this session. And in fact, for seniors, for example, they're gonna be able to use their Medicare instead of have to pay a PIP coverage to their auto insurance, and as opposed to that, and also have a Medicare available. So we're gonna help seniors. With car insurance reform, this just went into effect 7/2 of this year, just this month. And if there's more that needs to be done, because this is a 2-year plan to reform this, we're gonna keep working on it, because the goal is to bring more choices and rate assistance with rates. I know a lot of you have heard about COVID-19 patients being put into nursing homes. This is something I've aggressively gone after. More than a third of the patients that have died from COVID-19 happened in nursing homes. I will tell you, I'm a little frustrated with the media, because the media has said this is a Republican versus Governor Whitmer. I will tell you that this is not a Republican issue. The most vocal legislator on this is Representative Leslie Love, who's a Democrat from Detroit, who's upset. And the House voted on COVID-19. 13 Democrats voted with us and said, Governor, let's please stop putting COVID-19 patients into nursing homes. Just a few other things. There's a budget shortfall that's coming, unfortunately, when the state's closed for 2 months. I feel everybody needs to feel the pain, so I took a 10% pay cut, so to make it clear that I am sharing in the pain that whatever we ask of our state employees or our departments to cut, I took the first cut. I will tell you, unfortunately, we talked about community policing and all these issues. Before this George Floyd incident, which was horrible, I will tell you this, the legislature already talked about resolve civil asset forfeiture reform, criminal justice reform, indigent defense. We were already talking about these issues, and obviously there's more conversations to be had. Talking about mental health, I will tell you that there was a rebasing plan that unfortunately, Macomb County, Oakland County lost millions of dollars that started before I was in Lansing, that was taken from us and distributed throughout the state. I worked with my colleagues to get $5 million brought back to Macomb County, and I'm still fighting because mental health is such a priority. Am I at my 5 minutes?
Just a smidge.
Okay.
Final statements.
Just lastly, I will tell you something about the UIA. The UIA is failing our residents. We have Republican, Democrats, we agree that there's a problem. We're serving hundreds of our constituents calling us. One thing I want to include about being accessible. When you call my office, it may not be staff answering it. It may be me. After 5 o'clock, I'm often in my office till 10, 11 o'clock working, and people call my office. I'm like, hello, Representative Yaroch's office, Representative Yaroch speaking. And they're thinking they're going to get a voicemail. And it's like, well, I want to leave a message for the representative. And I said, I am the representative. Let's talk. And I take those concerns also. And I personally help process those UIA issues. It is not staffed out. And I want to be available. I'm out in the district doing teletown halls. I've been doing listening tours before the pandemic, always being available, and I want to be that. I would like your vote because it'd be an honor to continue to represent you in Lansing. Thank you.
My name is Sara Murray, and I am a candidate for the office of Armada Township Trustee. First of all, I wanted to thank the Chamber for putting this event together and for everyone for coming. By definition, a trustee is a legal term referring to a person who holds a position of trust or responsibility for the benefit of another. In this case, the benefit is to the community. My husband and I built our forever home here, moved here in August of 2018, so we're pretty new. Although we have lived in the area for over 30 years, and we've enjoyed many local events, many restaurants and businesses, and we love living here, we love the community, and the way that everyone comes together to help each other out. And to us, that is community. Since moving here, I've attended township board meetings so that I could learn more about my community that we chose to live in and to find ways to give back, because that's what I've done for the last 30-some years, is always give back where I've lived. Let's just say I learned a lot in a relatively short period of time. As I said, I've spent the majority of my life giving back. Before moving to Armada, I served as an elected official for 2 terms on the Board of Education for Romeo Community Schools. We had an annual budget in excess of $50 million. I've served on the Foundation for Educational Excellence to help support our students and our staff. And I continue to serve on a committee to build a Veterans and First Responders Memorial in Washington. I believe in fiscal responsibility. I believe in honesty and integrity and accountability. I'm looking forward to the opportunity to serve Armada, to be held accountable for the responsible spending of our tax dollars, and to bring more integrity to the board. The board meetings were eye-opening when I got here. Although I've never been a politician, when this election season rolled around, it was an opportunity for me to be a part of the solution rather than part of the problem, and to help preserve the way of life and community that is near and dear to Armada residents and that we've come to love also. I am very easy to talk to, I'm very accessible, and I will leave it at that, so thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Jim Goetzinger. Can you hear me? Do we have more microphones here? I feel like I shouldn't put this up to my mouth here. I have lived in Armada most of my life. I graduated from Armada High School with the class of 2000. I've been fortunate that my career has allowed me to continue to live in this community and raise my family in this community. I do have a degree in civil engineering, and I have a very rewarding career as a public service director for the city of Richmond. And I also am an existing, this is my first term as trustee on the Armada Township Board. As a public service director, I'm responsible for the majority of the city of Richmond's infrastructure, which includes their roads, water and sewer, infrastructure, cemetery, a lot of that stuff. And those funds all amount to over $4 million annually to the city's budget, and I'm responsible for preparing those budgets. So I'm very familiar with the budget process and being fiscally responsible and uniform code of accounts and BS&A and all that stuff that is a big part of being a trustee on the township board. And I believe that this experience gives me a lot of firsthand knowledge and many of the issues that we do discuss at board level. And it also has helped me to build a lot of professional relationships that I have and will continue to lean on to provide a lot of valuable insight, from those who have more experience than myself. My motivation for running for trustee is the same as it was 2 years ago. I believe that my experience and my commitment to this community is an asset to Armada Township and to the Township Board, and I feel an obligation, if you will, to serve in the best capacity that I can where the need is the greatest, and right now I believe that as a trustee that's where I should be, and that's why I'm here. I'm not looking for credit. I tend to want to stay in the background. I just want to get things done and move on. I'm not afraid to admit when I've made mistakes. I certainly am not perfect. What I can say, though, is in the last 2 years, I feel I've been very thorough and professional and transparent and diligent in all the tasks that I've been tasked to do. and I've stated only facts. It's very important to me. I've never misrepresented my opinions as facts, which can account for a lot of misleading information. I speak frequently on teamwork. This was particularly true early on in my term. Actually, I'd go so far as to go to the township board early before meetings and move all the chairs together, thinking that if we look like a team, we may act like a team. As a team, we need to have a common goal, but that doesn't mean we need to agree all the time. Really, when we have our own ideas, that's what makes us a better team, because we bring more to the table. Really, to be a team, it's how we respond when we don't get our way, or when the idea that we think should have been approved is not. That's when we show up for a team, if we can accept and support that decision, or if we try to undermine that decision. So as long as I'm on the board, I will continue to work as a team. And my voting record, if you look at it, does speak for itself, that I have no issues. I vote on the issue, not on who's supporting what side of the issue. And I just ask that you will vote Jim Goetzinger on August 4th. Thank you very much.
I am Monica Job. I am a former township trustee. I am also as a township trustee, I was the planning commission liaison. And I was also a former township supervisor. When I became supervisor, one of the things that I did, I think it is imperative that you learn your role. What does the trustee do? What does the supervisor do? So what I did, myself and our planning commission chair went through every single file in that township building. We found files from 20 years, 25, 30 years. We also learned as much as we could every month. I mean, the state, the MTA that we pay to our tax dollars to help those that are running for office learn their roles, we would read from front cover to the back cover so that we could learn our roles as best as we could. Learned so much information, learned that, you know what, if every community doesn't have a place for a high density housing area, a developer could come in and put it anywhere in our community. Do you know where our high density development was geared for? Where the new high school was, and that new high school was already over 20 years old. So at that point, we had to scramble. Our planning commission, our township board, it's like we need to get a master plan in place. We worked diligently for 4 years to get a master plan in place. We worked diligently to protect our Powell Road, our industrial district, diligently to get that water and sewer services so that we would not lose that district. We are this close to losing Powell Road now. I have been blamed for that. No, under my leadership, our board voted unanimously to allow a developer who owned the wastewater treatment plant, the treatment plant permit, to build that. Right before the shovels were going to go in the ground, he decided, I want the tap fees. I want to determine who can and can't go into that. We can't do that. The township was going to pay close to $1 million for that plant to protect Armada Township. If we lose our industrial district, we are going to lose so much tax revenue. What I have seen happen in the last 6 years is why I decided to run again. I ran 4 years ago for clerk, lost by 17 absentee ballots. I said, you know what? I had quit my job to 1 day a week. I decided I'm not going to quit my job again, so I'm going to go in as a trustee, because what I am seeing is if we do not learn, if we don't have people on board that are going to learn their roles and take their roles absolutely seriously, we are going to be in a world of hurt in a very short time. So vote August 4th.
Monica Job, Armada Township Trustee. Thank you.
My name is Christine Martin, and I'm running for Armada Township Clerk. I did a lot of soul searching about this because I've been frustrated with the lack of transparency and the direction of the Township Board, and I know that I can provide a positive change. My husband John and I have lived in Armada since 2004, and we've been active supporters of many Armada events over the years. We have attended Armada Township Board meetings regularly since 2009, since getting involved because of a proposed regulatory noise ordinance. I believe that I have the skills to bring Armada Township into the 21st century by using my education and background in telecommunications and administration to become more transparent and accountable. I graduated in 2008 with a Bachelor of Science, Information Technology, and e-business degree, and I retired from AT&T in 2019 after 30 years. I could have chosen to stay retired, but I believe this community needs people who want to help our township grow in a positive manner. Whenever I've been asked what I did at AT&T, my answer is, it was my job to make sure everyone else had what they needed to do their jobs. I see the role of the township clerk as a very similar responsibility. I was an information technology administrative manager and gained experience in budget and contract management, vendor negotiation, compensation plans, and accounts receivable. I worked out of my home full-time starting in 1996. So I understand the importance of a stable, secure internet connection. I will use my background in telecommunications to try to see if I can move that issue forward here. I commit to ensuring that the township uses available technology to share information with the public, including putting all financial and audit information on our website. I saw that our current clerk loaded the monthly packet of information the board members receive prior to the township meetings every month for yesterday's meeting for the first time ever. I assume because I mentioned it, should be done in a post on my campaign page. I asked her about doing that at a meeting last year, but it never happened. I'm a strong supporter of our firefighters and ALS service, but also believe that the taxes approved by voters to fund the fire department must be carefully managed to ensure that the long-term maintenance plan remains viable. I believe managing elections is one of the most sacred duties of the clerk's office. I became active in the elections process as a poll worker after a sealed ballot bag was opened by the clerk's office before an election was certified. At AT&T, I developed exceptional computer technology, organizational, and problem-solving skills, and I worked well with people with different life experiences and from different cultures. I was recognized with 28 awards for performance and innovation and received exceeds expectations ratings on 25 of my 30 annual performance evaluations. I will bring that determination to exceed expectations to this position. Thank you all for coming, and thanks again to the chamber. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Good evening, and thank you all for coming out tonight to meet the candidates. I am Mary Swiacki, your current Armada Township Clerk, for those of you who do not know who I am. In 2005, I was hired as a planning and zoning administrator for the township and held that position until 2008 when I was elected Township Clerk. One of the most important jobs the clerk does is run elections. I have run 33 elections with the help of my past deputy clerks and my current deputy clerk, Dawn Boyd, and my devoted election inspectors. Elections laws have evolved over the years that requires meticulous preparation work to make sure everything runs accordingly. I am Armada Township's first clerk to go through 3 years of training to become a certified Michigan municipal clerk in 2014. Also, I am the only candidate who has the municipal experience and knows the details of the position. I have been treasurer for the Macomb County Clerks Association since 2012. I have always worked well with the businesses in the township, and I always try to do my best for taxpayers, which includes the village of Armada and township. I have been working with Comcast to follow up on a grant that was submitted last year by them on behalf of Armada Township for a Connecting Michigan Communities grant through the Michigan Department of Technology, Management, and Budget to expand internet services within the township. Project cost is $3,394,420. Of the 14 applications were received from 7 different companies. Armada Township is one. Due to COVID-19, the grant process came to a halt May 27, 2020. Currently, we are in a 60-day comment and objection process period, which ends July 27th. The validation process begins August, and grant awards will be awarded in September. I will continue to follow up with Comcast on this very important and ongoing issue for our community. Transparency has always been a top priority for me. I have instituted the inclusion of board packets to the website so residents are informed on agenda items. If anyone has any questions on any issue, feel free to contact me at the township office. My door is always open. And remember, be an informed voter. Get to know your candidate personally, not through social media. Thank you for listening to me today, and with your support, I look forward to serving our community for an additional 4 years. Be sure to vote on August 4th. I'd like to thank the Chamber for putting this together. Thank you for your time and attention.
I was asked to come here today to make a statement and to discuss the issues I feel most relevant. I am running unopposed as treasurer for Armada Township, but still appreciate the invite. I have always believed that if you are going to be paid by the taxpayers, then you need to do a full job and do it completely. I became involved in Armada politics in 1993. What I saw in the first few years were just reactions from officials with no direction and no energy. In the year 2000, Monica Joe became supervisor and I stepped in as planning commission secretary. Gail Hicks was clerk and I then became deputy clerk. The energy in the office was heightened. The calls that came in to the town hall were answered to the best of our ability, but then we decided to get ahead of the problems and make a difference. We had repeated calls about traffic and crowds, which happened each fall due to Blake's Orchard. We got ahead of it. I talked to local farmers and did my research and worked with Monica to initiate the very first ag business ordinance in Macomb County. We got ahead of the problems, came up with a solution that seemed so out of the ordinary that Crane's Detroit magazine interviewed us and did a write-up which appeared May 23, 2005. When a member of the Planning Commission died, I was there when his wife approached the board with the much-needed idea of advanced life support in Armada. We ran with that idea. The first step towards ALS was to hire a full-time fire chief. That was done immediately. Then, as deputy clerk, I applied for and obtained a full grant from the county for the new ambulance garage. This was completed after my job of deputy had expired. We had a full footing on our way to total ALS coverage. While I was a deputy, we saw the public was not being fully informed of what was actually happening within the township as a whole. I started and authored township newsletter Armada Seedling. This newsletter is still spoken of favorably today. As treasurer, I have seen sloppy work and ethics that I would not call stellar. I have challenged all that I have found. I have brought it out at board level for the public to know. For that, I have been threatened to be sued, I have been sued, I have been bullied, yelled at, screamed at, lied about, and hated, and I regret none of it. I believe that if you are hired or elected to do a job, you should do it, especially if it is your statutory duty by law. I believe that ordinances and policies should be followed by all or removed, not used as weapons against the taxpayers. The board should not be status quo, but visionary. The board should also not be making decisions for personal benefits. If you say you are going to be paying for permits for tax-deductible entity, you should not be reimbursed by the township later on. If you are running a personal business, you should not be using local township business, which comes before the board for many approvals for your own financial gain. 20 years ago, I physically supported the Blake's Farm without receiving any benefit, and that is as it should be. 20 years ago, I pushed for ALS in the fire department, and you don't see my name on the union signs. I expected nothing in return. I believe in Armada, and what I have received is not gratuities on the side, but paycheck from you. Thank you, and I will continue to work for that paycheck.
Hello, everybody. My name's John Paterek. I'm pretty sure most of you know me. If not, moved up here in 1990. 91, we got involved in the Armada Civic and Trade Association, and I also got involved in the Macomb Intermediate School District's Parent Advisory Committee for Special Needs Kids. I spent 11 years as a special needs student advocate, and I've been involved with our kids in our school ever since that day. It's been pretty exciting. We moved on from the Armada Civic and Trade Association when they formed the Armada Business Association. Involved with the Armada Business Association was when we decided to approach the village and form the Armada Downtown Development Authority. We were successful at doing that and retaining a large portion of taxes that were leaving our community, which allowed us to rebuild the entire downtown area and take all of our buildings and make them handicap accessible except for the one building next to Tivoli's. Very successful project. The Planning Commission has now been turned, or the DDA has now been turned over to the Planning Commission. And again, the time that I got involved with running for supervisor was when I was the DDA chairman. Business came to me and said they were having a very, very frustrating time trying to get their approval to open up a cafe on North Avenue. And I listened to what they had to say, and I read about the money they paid to planning meetings and county meetings and all this, and so I decided to go to a couple of meetings and paid attention to the fact that all they were really trying to do at the end was get a variance for their parking lot to be a 100-year flood event reservoir, if you will. And within the first 2 months after taking office, that was approved. So it was just a matter of people not wanting or being willing to work with businesses to get it done. So that's exactly what we did. I've chosen right along. I opened my business in 1993 on Church Street in Armada, Paterek Mold and Engineering. Bought a second building in 2013, moved Northern Services in there. It's a wire EDM shop. And ever since I took office, one of my pledges has always been it's to try to help people. I don't care if it was a complaint, I don't care if it was a business, was to try to work with people to find a solution as opposed to let's take them to court, let's write them tickets, there's got to be a way for everybody to come together, and I've never been one for strong arming people. More a collaborative. How can we get this thing accomplished? How can we fix this up? So I've been involved with the Armada area schools, from the football teams to the baseball teams. I coached baseball 31 years. Can't tell you how many wonderful kids that I've seen grow up in my life. One of the things I think the most important thing that we have going right now in the township really is the ability to find a way to develop our businesses and grow our tax base. When I brought Armada Life Support into Armada in 2009, it was very simple because we had two paramedics on duty that were willing to start for $10.50 an hour. And all we needed was an advanced airway kit and a medical kit and a 12-lead monitor. So it cost us about $30,000 in material, or in equipment, if you will, to turn our basic advanced life support into advanced life support. And for that, it's grown from there. The guys made incredible sacrifices to get it off the ground. It was $48,000, and it was $48,000 or $49,000 gift that Bruce Township gave us when they had leftover community development block grant funds. They gifted us to pay off the station, so that we didn't have any payments after that. So the relationship I've had with Bruce, Romeo Village and Washington has always been very strong. And again, it goes back to even now with the industrial corridor, we're working on it, but the program that was put in place at the one point was all going to fall on 6 businesses. And quite honestly, it was a bankrupt program from the start, and it ended up being a bankrupt program at the end. There's got to be another way, don't get me wrong, but you have to bring all the players to the table and make sure that it's good for everybody. Business owners, the property owners, the Romeo Village itself, they own the wastewater treatment plant, and Armada. So we still have to work on some details, but no, water's going to be tough to get in there. However, we do have a 16-inch water main that the Armada Township did invest in. It's been rumored that that pipe was run in for one business on Powell Road. Not the case. The Armada Water and Sewer District, so everybody knows, is about 2.5 square miles. It runs from 32 mile to 33.5 mile, and it runs from Powell Road to Wolcott. So the district that water pipe was brought in for to service covers about a 2.5 square mile district. That's just where it was anchored. When Bruce Township had the ground opened up, had we not seized the opportunity to put in a parallel pipe and bring a 16-inch water main, we wouldn't be talking about water now, because they would have closed the ground up and we'd have to open the ground back up to put another pipe in. So it went from about $1.4 million to $300,000. I thought that was a pretty good opportunity, and at the time, Marge Ruthenberg and Wayne Lobick and Mary and made some good decisions at the time to bring that asset to us, but not for today or not for last year, for the next 50 years. So I'd like to talk to the village about running a pipe down the trail and getting Detroit Water here in the village, because I know they pay pretty good money to run the pumps around here, that's for sure. The other big thing we've got going right now is our fire department. Our guys are 20% behind going pay from the neighboring communities. In their last collective bargaining agreement, they didn't even get cost of living raises. So I still think there's things that we have to show a little bit more appreciation for, and I agree that the long-term maintenance of our program, our equipment replacement program, needs to be maintained. That whole tax that was levied, or that the people voted for, was set up to ensure our security through 20 years. So in 20 years we didn't run out of money, and we had money to build a future, if you will, station in the southwest corner. Change is like water. It's this simple. If you try to stop it, it's going to find the path of least resistance, and it's going to go wherever it wants to. The key is to dig a river through our township and allow change to flow through our township so we can mow the grass and sit right up alongside of it and fish and have our picnics. We can't resist change. We can't put off people from trying to develop their businesses. We don't have that many. So we need to be able to work with these people and make it successful. Thanks again for the chamber for putting up with my stuff and quit making those faces over there. And God bless Armada.
I want to thank the chamber, and quite honestly, I don't know how you guys planned this tonight, but not a better way than to sit here and have a baseball game going on one side and having little girls 8U over here practicing. I think that's a pretty cool way that you guys planned it. So great job on that. For the people that don't know me, my name is Steve Nikkel. I've been a resident of the community for 36 years. I am running for Armada Township Supervisor because Armada Township has a lot of unharnessed potential, and I want to help to move the township forward. My wife, Renee, of 17 years. My daughters, Kenzie and Abby, understand and support the commitment that I am making to the Township of elected supervisor. Here are some bullet points of my platform. 1, I want to employ conservative leadership which leads itself to fiscal responsibility. Let me illustrate this point with the following example. My idea of an alternate type of sanitary vendor for the transfer site allowed Armada Township to save $24,360 over the first year over the previous vendor, who had increased their prices by 10% per year for the last 10 years, ranging from $34,800 to $61,470. That was not a good use of taxpayer dollars. 2, civility. While working with elected officials, the public, and other trustees and committees, I will not resort to the libel, name-calling, and inaccurate comments that appear on social media. I am more than willing to present factual replies to questions, either one-on-one, which I think is a great way for people to see your reaction and response and work with one another. I was also appointed to committees which required me to interact with both Romeo and Richmond Township. All of our meetings were civil, friendly, and transparent, while we kept the best interests of the township front and center in all of our discussions. 3, my commitment and unwaveringly loyalty to the Armada Township and the best interests of the community. If elected, my number one priority will be to determine via a committee the best internet service for our township. As many of you know, we have improved the sound system of the township, and we will begin to explore the capabilities to live stream all township meetings. 4, cooperation and continued loyalty and support to public safety, including fire, police, and schools. I was once a former volunteer firefighter, so I know what it needs to take to support them. I have a good working relationship with the current fire chief. I am a volunteer coach for both of my daughters for travel softball for Armada Fast Pitch. I will continue my loyalty and support of public safety, including fire, police, environment, and schools. Armada Township has a set of policies, procedures, and ordinances. If they are not followed, we have chaos, favoritism, and we have lack of enforcement. These actions could result in costly lawsuits from citizens against the township. I will uphold my oath of office to serve and protect the safety and well-being of the taxpayers. In closing, I am asking for you to please vote for me on August 4th. Thank you.